In today's video, we talk about the best parts of the now defunct Great Movie Ride at Disney Hollywood Studios. We'll reveal why it may have closed, what was great about it, what maybe could have been done better, and even maybe a possible conspiracy theory about Hollywood's rules and their impact on this ride. All of that is coming up. Jolly Julian here with a Disney nostalgia trip back in time to when one of my personal favorite rides was all the rage at Disney Hollywood Studios theme park at Walt Disney World. The Great Movie Ride opened on May 1st, 1989 and ran until its closure on August 13th, 2017 to make way for a new attraction, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. The Great Movie Ride took guests on a journey through some of the greatest films of all time, showcasing iconic scenes and characters from Hollywood's golden age to the present day. This has always been one of my all-time favorite attractions at all of Disney World. Now granted, I'm a huge movie buff, and that, combined with my love of Disney parks, made this ride a guaranteed Jolly Julian fave, and I know that I'm not the only one. The ride was housed inside a replica of the famous Grauman's Chinese Theater in Hollywood, California. As guests entered the queue, they were transported back in time to the glitz and glamour of Hollywood's golden age, with classic movie posters lining the walls and red carpet underfoot. I adored this queue line, such a great way to ease into the world of old Hollywood. Once aboard the ride vehicle, guests were guided through various scenes from classic films with audio animatronic figures of beloved characters brought to life right before their eyes. And here are some of the scenes I loved so much from this fantastic, classic, and very missed attraction. First of all, the pre-show. Before the ride began, guests would watch a short film highlighting the history of movies and their impact on popular culture. The first scene of the ride featured a tribute to the classic musical Footlight Parade, a throwback to the big movie musicals of yesteryear. The next scene was a tribute to the beloved musical Singing in the Rain, where you got a glimpse of an audio animatronic Gene Kelly singing the classic song while dancing, you guessed it, in the rain. Later, you move into a darker scene inspired by the classic gangster film, The Public Enemy with James Cagney. You dirty rat, you. Love that line. My delivery didn't do it justice. Also, possibly my favorite movie of all time, and incidentally now a Disney film after the acquisition of Lucasfilm in 2012, the Raiders of the Lost Ark section of the Great Movie Ride always got me so excited. Seeing Indy and Sala lifting the Ark of the Covenant up in the midst of that giant room, flanked by huge statues holding up the ceiling, and that incredible John Williams music score playing, it took me back to being a kid seeing the film for the first time at a drive-in theater in 1981. Later, the ride then took guests to the magical world of the Wizard of Oz. A great visual was an animatronic figure of the Wicked Witch of the West from the Wizard of Oz. As the ride vehicle passed through Munchkin Land, the Wicked Witch appeared, cackling and threatening to cast spells on the guests. Later, guests rode through the Emerald City and encountered animatronics of Dorothy, the Scarecrow, Tin Man, and the Cowardly Lion. The ride also took a scary turn as guests encountered a scene inspired by the sci-fi horror film Alien. The scene featured a few xenomorph animatronics and other special effects to create a tense and thrilling atmosphere. There were many more scenes on this ride, all of which were magical to experience, but those are a few of my favorites. The ride also featured live actors who interacted with guests, adding an element of surprise and excitement. These actors appeared in several different scenes, including the gangster shootout from The Public Enemy and even raiding an archaeological site reminiscent of one of the aforementioned classics, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Overall, the Great Movie Ride was a fantastic attraction that brought the magic of Hollywood to life. It was a fitting tribute to the art of filmmaking and a celebration of the movies that have captured our hearts and imaginations for generations. Although it is now closed, its legacy lives on in the hearts of Disney fans, like myself, who will always cherish their memories of this beloved ride. Sadly, as you know from the title of this video, after almost 30 years of operation, the ride closed on August 13th, 2017. Many visitors, myself included for sure, were disappointed by the closure of this iconic attraction, and there were several potential reasons why it had to shut down. One of the main reasons people give as to why the Great Movie Ride closed was that it was outdated. The ride had not undergone any significant updates or refurbishments since it opened, and the technology used in the ride was not up to the standards of modern theme park attractions. Now, while I agree having some newer films showcased on this ride would have been wonderful, I don't agree that the technology was that outdated. I've always loved a good dark ride, as they call them, which is what Disney park fans refer to as a slow ride through scenes in a controlled environment. I love those rides, and I agree that the animatronics could have been updated to move a bit more and be more fluid, but the tech itself always seemed great to me for that type of ride. However, I can understand anyone who feels that compared to newer attractions such as Universal's Wizarding World of Harry Potter or Disney's Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, the Great Movie Ride may have lacked the immersive elements that many visitors have come to expect. It was more that you were watching the stories unfold rather than living inside them. But that's what a movie kind of is, right? You watch it unfold in front of you, and the emotions of that experience bring you into it on a personal level. That's part of the charm that made the Great Movie Ride so great for so many people. Another possible reason for the closure of the Great Movie Ride was the need for Disney Hollywood Studios to make room for new attractions. The park has undergone significant changes in recent years, including the addition of Toy Story Land and Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, which have proven to be extremely popular with visitors. These new lands require space, and the Great Movie Ride was located in a prime location in the park. Some may feel that Disney needed to make room for newer, more modern attractions to continue the attraction of visitors. However, I always felt that this park has room to grow. Why take out such a beloved attraction to make room for a new one when you can expand the park a bit instead? It would have been one thing if the new ride that was going in was using the same track or the layout, but it didn't. Everything had to be created new, other than perhaps some parts of the building itself. So again, why not expand instead of replace? The final reason that I can see for closing down this beloved attraction were rights issues. The movies they showcased in the ride involved rights having to be secured in order to have them as part of the attraction. Perhaps these rights were either expiring or getting too expensive to renew. With all the various IPs that Disney now owns, it seems like they could have showcased different movies, ones owned only by Disney, so rights wouldn't have had to have been paid any longer. However, this would have obviously involved a major overhaul of the entire attraction, and that would have been very costly. But more costly than creating a whole new ride? I don't know. In conclusion, while the closure of the Great Movie Ride was a disappointment to many visitors, its closing is part of what Walt always said would be a core of Walt Disney World. That it would be ever-changing, evolving, growing, that it would never be finished. And while it may be sad to say goodbye to an iconic attraction like this, it is always exciting to look forward to the new experiences that Disney has in store for Hollywood studios. And until then, we can always be jolly together as we share our glorious memories of this attraction. Now, did you love this attraction as much as I did? Do you feel it was time for it to go? How do you feel about the attraction that has replaced it, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway? Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And until the next video, stay your most jolly self. Subscribe and hit the bell icon if you'd like to be notified of my next video. And remember, Walt Disney World is only a thought away, as long as we hold it.